So, what's up, guys? I hope everyone's doing well. And today I want to talk about how you can keep your sessions fun and intense as you get into the intermediate phase. Because when you get into the intermediate phase, naturally progress slows down and motivation drops as a result. The gym becomes less fun and it is kind of carried on as some sort of combination of habit, fear of going backwards, and the desire for more. Those three together kind of keep you going rather than the sheer progress itself. And as a result, sessions are way less fun and it's hard to bring the intensity that you need to keep progressing and growing muscle simply because you find them really boring. So I want to talk about some practical ways, 3 practical ways we can solve this problem and improve the quality of our sessions by making them more fun and more intense. I only want to choose 3 because any more than that and it becomes quite difficult to implement them in. But these 3 are extremely practical and could all be implemented tomorrow or even today if you're watching this video before you're going to go to the gym. So with that being said, the first one is to time the sessions on your phone for 1 hour maximum. You can set a timer on your iPhone and pretty much every other phone for 60 minutes. And once that timer goes off, session's done, walk out the gym. And this solves a couple problems really. The first problem is sessions take too long because you are bored. And you also don't want to go to the gym because your sessions take too long. But cutting it to 60 minutes means that they won't take 90 minutes. So you can get in and out and the job's done. It also means you can bring the intensity. If your session is truly intense, then you aren't going to be able to train really hard for 90 minutes. Only pro athletes can train really hard for 90 minutes. And we're not pro athletes, we're just normal people. Average people who want to do well for themselves. And 60 minutes, 4 or 5 times a week is perfect. That's all you need. So we're going to time our sessions for 1 hour. And we're going to bring the intensity for 1 hour. It also solves the problem of junk volume. It forces you to weigh up whether you're going to actually do that 3rd or 4th set. If you've got 10 minutes left and you've still got 1 more exercise to do, is it really worth doing a 3rd and 4th set on this exercise when you can just drop it at 2 and move on to that last one and do another 2 sets on 2 more working sets on a different exercise, which you probably get way more out of. So it forces you to be a little bit more savvy and a little bit more clever with your training because you've only got a certain amount of energy and a certain amount of time. So you have to best allocate your resources in that time. Second thing is a little bit paradoxical, but is to spend more time warming up. And by more time, I mean going from 0 to 5 minutes. A 5-minute warm-up is all you need to get a light sweat on. And as you know, the best sessions typically come when you've got a light sweat on and you're in the zone. And that's exactly what a quick warm-up does. 5 minutes incline walk on the treadmill is all you need for this. Incline walk at 3 miles per hour or 5 kilometers per hour. Nothing crazy. Get your hoodie on. You'll get a nice little sweat on. You get your body warm. And you've got 5 minutes to think about your session. I know it feels like you're going to add to your session. And when you get in there and you're like, when you walk into that gym, you just think, right, let's just get this over and done with. Get it out of the way. And in and out. Don't need a warm-up. I'm doing okay. Plus, you're probably in your 20s if you're watching this video, so you don't feel like you need to warm up. But that 5 minutes spent at the start of the session helps you get into the zone, which also means you're in that flow state. And when you're in the flow state, you're not overthinking things. You're less likely to scroll through your phone, scroll through social media. You're just going with the session. And like I said, you've got that light sweat on and you're ready to go. It helps you get into that zone. And it actually, because you're in the zone, you actually speed up the session. So that's why it's paradoxical, because you feel like you're spending more time. You're like, oh, I've got to train for 90 minutes plus 5-minute warm-up. Fuck that. But if you spend that 5 minutes warming up, your session that takes 90 minutes takes more like 60 to 75 minutes because you're going through the flow of things and you're not constantly checking social media. So that is the second practical thing. The third practical thing that we can implement, or when you do implement, will improve the quality of your sessions and makes them more fun because like I said, you're in the zone. And when you're in the zone, you're not overthinking things, and you're not thinking about how boring the session is. Jesus. Third thing is to stay off the phone in between sets. Now, this is difficult because if you're like me, you use your phone to track your progress, and you also use your phone to film yourself during the sets, right? And in between sets, you want to watch the set to see if your intensity was there. And I actually am not against that. I think that is quite valuable, right? It's quite a good use of your phone. You need to know what weights you need to use, and you need to see what your form looks like, right? So I'm not going to be one of those guys now that says, yeah, turn your phone off, put it on airplane mode, this is and that, and don't bring it to the gym. I think, no, we can use technology in a sensible way that helps us improve our sessions, and I'm definitely on board with that, right? But you don't need to go on social media, or you don't need to go on Instagram during your sets, mate. You really don't. All you're going to see is things that take you out of the zone. You're going to see what other people are doing with their lives, and it's going to distract where your mind goes. You're going to start thinking about that. You're going to start thinking about other people, what they're doing, how you're at the gym and someone else is having coffee or doing whatever and having essentially better time than you. And if you never actually saw that, you wouldn't even thought about it. Instead, when you don't go on your phone, you actually stay in the zone, and you are more likely to pay attention to your body and how it feels when the muscle contracts during the set, right? How the set feels, which muscles you felt working during the set. They're the sort of things you pay attention to when you're not having your mind distracted by social media. And that is important. It's important if you want to keep progressing through the intermediate phase. It's very, very rare that you're going to have a session where you need to keep checking your phone, right? We're all adults here, right? Or we all have responsibilities. Maybe we're not all adults, but maybe we all have responsibilities. And every now and then you're going to have a session where, right, I need to keep my phone on me just in case, or I need to keep checking out just in case this happens, right? I need to check for a text from this person. Them sort of things. But this isn't every session. This is just every now and then. Most sessions, you don't need your phone, and you don't need to be checking Instagram during your sets. If you've downloaded your music, maybe you can put it in airplane mode. If not, you've got to be sensible on that phone use, and it takes a lot of discipline. But if you can do that, and you can be disciplined with your phone use, then you will have better sessions. They'll be more fun because you'll be in the zone, and they'll be more intense because your mind will be more focused. So, like I said, those three things could become habits, and it could become a philosophy that you implement to your own training to improve it. So yeah, that is everything. I hope it helps, and I'll see you in the next video.